वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Shri Matre Namaha. Namaste everyone. In today's session we are going to review the Nama Pancha Brahmasana Sthitha. In the last Nama, we darshaned Acharya Durvasa Sriman Nagaram. Sriman Nagaram is at the top of Sumeru's Madhya Shringam. Sumeru Madhya Shringastha Sriman Nagara Nayika. So, in the Sriman Nagaram, with the blessings of Acharya Durvasa, we reviewed Sriman Nagaram. Sriman Nagaram has 25 enclosures or prakarams. After we darshaned all the 25 avaranas, we reached Chintamani Griham in the last session. In Chintamani Griham, now this Nama says that Ambal is seated in a very special asana. Pancha Brahmasana Sthitha. Pancha Brahma Asana Sthitha. Ambal is seated in an asana made out of Pancha Brahmam. Pancha Brahmasana Sthitha. Pancha means 5. Brahmam. There is no way to describe what Brahmam is. Brahmam is Brahmam. Perhaps we can say that is the state of Ekatma, Advaita Bhavana, where the Jiva reaches Brahmam. That's the only way to kind of equate it or explain it. Brahmam means the supreme. There is no other equivalent to that. Brahmam is Brahmam. Ambal is seated in an asanam. Asanam means a seat. Sthitha means seated in that seat. So Ambal is seated in a very special asana made out of Pancha Brahmas. So Pancha Brahma Asana Sthitha, Pancha Brahmasana Sthitha. In Soundarya Lahari, Acharya says, SivAakaare Manche Parama Siva Paryanka Nilayaam. SivAakaare Mancham. This Asanam or the seat is no ordinary Asanam. This is SivAakaare Mancham. Shivam means Parama Mangalam. So SivAakaare Mancham is a very special bed or a couch that is very special and auspicious. SivAakaare Manche Parama Shiva Paryanka Nilayam. In that special mancham, Ambala Sri Kameswari is seated on the divine lap of Sri Kameswara. So SivAakaare Manche Parama Shiva Paryanka Nilayam. So this is the iconic picture or the illustration that we must bring to our mind for this Nama Pancha Brahmasana Sthitha. Sri Rajarajeshwari is seated in this very special asanam made out of Pancha Brahmas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pancha Brahmas, and Ambal is seated on this divine asanam that is made of Pancha Brahmas itself. This is unlike any asanas that we know of. See, usually if we say a bed or a couch, it has 4 legs, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the other side, and then there is some kind of a cushion on top, and we sit on this. But this asanam is unlike any asanam that we have ever seen. Ambal's asanam also has very similar structure. That means it has 4 um, parts for the legs, and then there is a top cushion. Just like there are 4 parts here and then there is a cushion, there are very similar structure, but this one is usually our asanam is made out of wood or metal, whereas Ambal's asanam, this Nama says that it is made out of Pancha Brahmam, Pancha Brahma Tattvas. It is not any ordinary asanam, it is made out of Pancha Brahmam. As the 4 legs, there is Brahma, there is Vishnu, there is Rudra, and there is Ishana or Ishvara. So Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra, Ishvara, they form the 4 legs of this asana. Just like we have 4 legs in a usual asana, these 4 are made out of, each one is a Brahmam. The 4 legs are 4 Brahmams. And at the top, we usually have cushion, whereas here at the top of the asana, Siva is the cushion or the plank or the palagai that we can say. So 4 legs are made out of 4 Brahmams, and the 5th Brahmam is Sadashiva, who is lying down here in this as the couch. And Ambal as Parabrahma Swarupini is seated on this Pancha Brahmasana Sthitha. That's why this this Nama very beautifully. So shows Sri Rajarajeshwari seated on this Pancha Brahmam. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Ambal is seated on this 5 Brahmams. So Ambal is worshipped as Pancha Brahmasana Sthitha. Ambal upon this Pancha Brahmam is seated majestically in union with Parashiva. That is why Acharya worships as SivAakaare Mancham Parama Shiva Paryanka Nilayaam. So, these Pancha Brahmam corresponds to 5 very special deeds. Each of these Pancha Brahmam is responsible for a very special deed. For example, Brahma comes and says, Amma, I want to do Srishti as my function. So Ambal says, granted. Here, you are responsible for Srishti. So the first Brahmam that comes out of Ambal, the Shakti that comes out of Ambal as Brahma is responsible for Srishti. Then Vishnu comes and says, Amma, I want to take care of the entire universe as Sthiti. Okay, Ambal says, granted. So Vishnu is given the power of Sthiti. Then Rudra comes as the power from Ambal and says, Amma, I want to do Layam. Ambal says, granted. You are given that task. So Rudra takes care of that third deed. And then Ishvara, Ishana comes and says, Amma, I want to have the power of Tirodhana. Ambal says, granted. So Ishvara has the power of Tirodhana. And then, so the 4 legs are made out of 4 Brahmams here. And then the top of the plank is Sadashiva. Sadashiva comes and says, Amma, I want to have the power of doing Anugraham for all the Jivas. Ambal says, granted. So each of the Pancha Brahmas, Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra, Ishvara, and Sadashiva, correspond to Panchakrityams. For now, we will only mention about the Panchakrityas as these 5 functions: Srishti, Sthiti, Layam, Tirodhanam, and Anugraham. And when we come to a later Nama called Panchakritya Parayana, we will go into details of each of these very special 5 deeds. Also, these Pancha Brahmas are seated in each of the direction. Brahma is seated on southeast, Vishnu is seated on southwest, Rudra is seated on northwest, Ishvara, also called as Ishana or Maheshwara, is seated on northeast, and then Sadashiva, he is as the plank in the Pancha Brahmasanam. In these 5 Pancha Brahmams manifested from the Brahmam, they are part of the Brahmam. They are not somebody separate. They came from Brahmam and they are part of the Brahmam. And these Pancha Brahmams, if we see, they are always on a meditative posture, always in the dhyanam of Ambal, and they do not move. They are always seated in this dhyana posture. That's why this iconic picture is very, very important for us to remember for this Nama Pancha Brahmasana Sthitha. These Pancha Brahmas will always appear as Pancha Brahmas when they are doing their Panchakritya, and later they will also merge with the Brahmam at the time comes. That means Ambal gives Shakti to each of those Pancha Brahmams to do their task. In the end, all the 5 Shaktis will merge back into Ambal. That only tells us that Ambal is the Pradhana Shakti. Pradhana Shakti means she is the Shakti, the Supreme, that gives power to Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra, Ishvara, and Sadashiva. These special Pancha Brahmas also always want to be in the Samibam of Ambal. Samibam means they always want to be very, very close. They want to be near Ambal all the time. That is why they have taken a place that is very, very close to Sri Lalitambika. In this Pancha Brahmam, Ambal conducts her Raja Darbar because she is Sri Maharagni. So she is ruling the entire universe, doing this Panchakritya from this special Asanam that is made out of Pancha Brahmas, Pancha Brahmasanam. Ambal is Sthita. Ambal is seated on this Pancha Brahma. Hence, Ambal is worshipped as Pancha Brahma Asana Sthitha. Vasanyadi Vagdevata says Pancha Brahmasana Sthitha. That is this Nama. As next steps with Acharya's blessings, let's review the next Nama in Sri Lalita Sahasranama. Loka Samasta Shukino Bhavantu. Thank you so much, everyone. Shri Matre Namaha.